All right. Agua Terra Fuego. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome back to Tribal Council. We'll now bring in the first member of our jury. Lachey wrote out the previous Tribal Council. Just as a reminder to everybody, the jury is here to observe. That'll ultimately help them make their final decision. You are not to talk to them. They are not to talk to you. All right. So last tribal council, as we know, the weather was not on our side, so we didn't get to have much of a tribal council. So I do feel as though it's appropriate to rewind the clock a little bit to cover what's all been happening so far. So, Brandon,
Yes.
take me back to the moment you first heard drop your buffs, you're merged. What was that feeling like for you, having known you've now made the merge?
Well, because we've been expecting it for probably about a day, it was very, very exciting. We also expected there'd be a merge feast, and we'd also been tricked into thinking there was a challenge. So for all those reasons, it was very exciting when we got there and pulled out the new buffs. Yeah, it was fantastic, and then nice to finally meet the people we've been kind of playing in parallel with for the last 5 days or whatever.
Rob,
Yep.
that merge feast was the largest amount of food y'all have had in a while. How was that merge feast for you?
The food was so good. Pasta and meat sauce was like exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Great.
And that butter cake. See?
Allison, it's been an interesting dynamic this season because there's a lot of players here who you haven't gotten to play with until you merge. So what was that like, finally getting to interact and strategize with several new people at once?
It was definitely nice last night. We sat around the fire, played some games, shared a bit about ourselves, and then, of course, very quickly realized that we got to start talking in the morning before it rains, and then start raining on us. It's been too quick, but we got to keep going.
Geraldine, do you feel like you made a concerted effort to try and talk to and get to know the people you didn't start the game with?
Oh, absolutely. I think last night was a good opportunity after the feast, coming back and trying to get to know everyone before the game talk really took off. We also had to kind of finish rearranging our filter, knowing there was impending rain. So that was a concerted group effort, and during that time, there was definitely a lot of get to know you chats going on.
Well, as y'all known, the Outcast twist was in play this season, and Nina, you were the one who was able to come back into the game, so congrats once again on that. What was that like for you to win that challenge against all those other competitors?
It was amazing and mind-boggling and surprising, and I'm so grateful for it. And I believed in myself, and I knew I could do it, and I just knew I had to keep going and hold on and just keep the rest of my body calm while holding the tension in my arms, and hope all those buff guys, young buff men that were on the Outcast tribe with me, I hope their arms were out before mine or something, and I guess that happened, and now I'm here.
And you were out of the game for a little bit, so what have you done to try and reintegrate yourself with people you knew before and people you still have yet to meet? How have you tried to reintegrate yourself into the game?
Just coming back in, kind of almost like I never left, just checking back in with everybody on my original tribe, checking in, seeing how everybody's feeling, how things went in the little bit of time I was gone, and then of course meeting everybody that I hadn't met at Anata, and seeing how their games have gone. I obviously get to know them as people.
Well, last Tribal Council was certainly lively. A lot was going on. Jess, you ultimately decided to play a hidden immunity idol. You got the beads for it. Why did you feel like you needed to play that idol? Had you heard your name? Was it just paranoia? What was it that made you feel like you had to do that?
It was a gut
I trust my gut. It was in my gut, and I said, this is what I have to do right now to keep myself another round in the game.
Brandon,
Hmm.
you also ended up playing an idol for yourself. What was it that made you feel like that was the right course of action?
Well, we knew coming in that we'd put our votes on Jess. So when she played the idol on herself, I knew I had to play it, and we'd come to a great consensus when we were back that we thought that I was the most likely target, but we also knew Steve Lachey, could be Isaiah, could be a number of people. So that pause I took last time was just like trying to kind of like test myself, but it's it's hard up there when you're feeling endangered, and maybe a little selfish that I played on myself, but I didn't know which way it was going to go. And, that's unfortunate for us in that round.
Isaiah, first of all, congrats on winning the individual immunity challenge.
Thank you.
Ask you about that in a sec, but I do want to go back to that tribal council because you did get a vote.
Yeah.
So did you feel like because of that, did that give you even more motivation to win this immunity?
Yeah, absolutely. You never want to see your name come up at tribal, and to see that I was even an option for one person was enough to motivate me to make sure that I at least didn't get to see my name for at least one more round. So yeah, definitely for sure.
And you and Juan had a pretty good little battle there throughout the challenge. Went a lot longer than I think most people anticipated. Was Juan being in the challenge so long even more motivating for you to keep going?
Yeah, and I would say probably Juan felt the same way about me. I feel like both of us really wanted it. And it was really cool to see the two black players, battling it out for the immunity. And yeah, it was a good competition. It was fun.
Juan, you put on a really solid performance in that challenge, but you came up just short. Do you think that was a particularly important immunity for you, considering you fought as hard as you did?
I mean, any immunity is important to anybody. I just knew that challenge was kind of in my warehouse based off of what I do for work. So I'm like, I can hold this as long as I can. But my glasses thought otherwise and kind of up at the end. So yeah.
Eliana, you were a little bit vocal at the last trial council. You thought it might be your last one. You did almost end up going home. So what was that like for you going back to camp for the scramble period, trying to reestablish yourself in the tribe?
I think votes are going to continue to be fluid. Any of us that thought like one vote to the next is going to be a situation that, like, just because you may get votes one time doesn't mean the next time you're going to get votes at all, because every vote is going to be fluid.
Chad, this is a really interesting dynamic here. We have 10 people, but if you want to break it down by tribes, 5 original Nada, 5 original Kanane. So how much does that play a factor in the strategic conversations?
I mean, I think despite it being a merged tribe, it's very much been a tribal game up to this point. I do think that's going to change at some point, but early on, and so it being 5-5 is very interesting. You would think that there would be a good chance that it would be tied and that rocks might come into play. But then again, maybe not. Maybe it's a game of chicken between both sides and to see if anybody will crack. And I guess we're about to find out.
Rob, Chad was pretty blunt there of he doesn't see it as an individual game necessarily. It's a tribe v tribe game. Does that sentiment carry through the conversations you had of tribe versus tribe is still at play here?
Yeah, I mean, I think that everybody is open to talking and hearing things, but we haven't had a lot of time with the other tribe, so it's hard to build trust that fast. So, I guess we'll see.
Allison, Chad talked about, could rocks even potentially be on the table? Is that something that does come up of the two groups could be so united that it could go all the way to rocks? Does that come up at all?
Yeah, we've been even so far, so it's definitely a possibility.
And where do rocks sit with you as a player?
On the ground.
Metaphorically.
I love rocks
In the game or on the ground?
everywhere.
Okay. Geraldine, you see, Lachey has started the jury. More of you will soon join the jury as well. So does that change how you vote off people or the way you vote off people, knowing that at some point you may have to turn around and ask them to vote for you?
I mean, I think it'd be a little crazy if you weren't thinking about that factor. Yes, we do have to like kind of pick and choose who you want to work with till the end, right? But you also have to pick and choose who you're not working with, and are they going to potentially be willing to vote for you? Are they going to respect the game that you're playing? So you have to consider all angles, and you have to make sure that you're trusting your gut out here as best as you can, and trusting those people that you have put your whether it's short term or long term faith into.
Aliana.
Huh?
At this point, what are you looking at are as the biggest threats in the game? Is it the challenge people? Is it the people that you think are going to get the most votes at the end from the jury? What type of threats are you looking at in the game that could be dangerous?
I I guess this is kind of ignorant. I really haven't thought about threats towards the end yet. I think because we're so tied up, still 5-5, it's kind of impossible to think about an end game right now because I think both tribes are just trying to get lead of members at this moment.
Okay. Well, it seems as though there's a lot of talk about tribe versus tribe. As we know at Tribal, is it fact or is it fictional? I guess it's time to figure out what's the truth and what's not. It is time to vote. I will ask, as always, if there's anything anyone else wants to say, address someone here or the group. This could be your last chance you have to do so.
I don't know, but something smells like dryer sheets right now. And it's
I smell it
beautiful.
There's like crazy bugs over here. They're all over Juan. They're like coming out of the stumps.
Oh, they are.
Oh, they sure are.
Yeah. Well,
That's it. Later. That's it.
irrelevant. Still.
Okay. Time for talking is done. We're going to get to the vote. I'll let them get to the booth first before we start. All right. So we are going to get to the vote. This time we're going to start with Juan, go to Geraldine, Nina, and with Rob. Juan. Isaiah. Brandon. Aliana. Rob.
All right, I'll go tally the vote. All right. Once the votes are read, the decision is final. Person voted out will be asked to the tribal council area immediately. Now ask if anybody has a hidden immunity item and you'd like to play it. Now would be the time to do so. I'll read the votes. First vote. Juan. Allie. One vote Juan, one vote Allie. Nina. One vote Nina, one vote Juan, one vote Allie. Juan. Two votes Juan, one vote Nina, one vote Allie. Allie. Two votes Juan, two votes Allie, one vote Nina. Juan. Three votes Juan, two votes Allie, one vote Nina. Allie. That's 3 votes each for Juan and Allie, 1 vote for Nina. Juan. It's 4 votes Juan, 3 votes Allie, 1 vote Nina. Juan. That's 4 votes, for Juan, 4 votes for Allie, or 3 votes for Allie. Sorry, I probably messed that up. Next person voted out of Surviving Reelfoot. Next member of our jury, Allie, Juan. We'll reshoot that.
Seamless.
I know. All right, Juan. Job spoken. Time for you to go.
I won.
You just got voted out. What's the reaction?
I mean, I expected it. I mean, I really didn't have any close allies. Yeah, it didn't really surprise me.
Who do you think was the leader in getting you voted out here?
Actually, I have no clue. Yeah, I have no clue who started that. That I didn't hear it at all, obviously. So yeah, I guess I'll find out later.
Who are you rooting for still left in the game?
None of them. But if I had to choose, I don't know. It's a hard decision right now. We have to see how it shakes out.
Any hard feelings towards anyone in the game?
No, they can sleep on the wet ground. I'm good.
Overall, you came second in the immunity challenge today. What has this experience meant to you, would you say?
Oh, it's been so fun. I didn't know what to expect, and I'm glad I came in. I made jury, my first Survivor LRG, so I'm happy.
What do you think the highlight of the game was for you?
Me jumping through that whole day one. I think that was really cool. Me and just doing wheel and challenges overall. Like, I think they were just scared of me in challenges. I could beat all of them at most things, so no hard feelings.
Any final thoughts?
They better play their ass off because they're playing hard, and I love it.
Beautiful.